Welcome back to the channel. It's LukeTheDuke, and I wanted to circle back around to some previously covered Starfield topics because we now have new updates, as well as touch on items like pre-order cancellations, ROG Ally, concerns over Starfield's economy, and a few items I would love to see prior to Starfield's launch. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. I've included timestamps for ease of viewing, and let's get started. Up to this point, it could be argued that Starfield has not put a foot wrong, and so when reports started rolling in that customers' Constellation Edition pre-orders were being canceled, it immediately made headlines. Multiple complaints were made and screenshots posted by customers that had previously placed and paid for a pre-order for the Constellation Edition with Walmart, only to receive a mysterious email, text, and phone call from the retailer explaining that their pre-orders were canceled on accident. Other reports from customers with the email show a total and then competitive price match refund, effectively reducing that price down to zero, receiving an explanation that the product was out of stock so that the store canceled and refunded the order for them. Still others, upon receiving the email, called customer service and were told that the order was not canceled, their order was still valid, and the purchase price would only be charged once the product was received. No public statement has yet been made by Walmart, but these reports are both confusing and gut-wrenching to read. Hopefully the retailer can work something out, possibly with Bethesda, to get in enough surplus stock to fulfill these orders and deliver the correct Constellation editions to those that purchase them. Next up, I wanted to follow up on that AMD PC requirements announcement I reported on in a previous Starfield upload, and since then, we've received some more public pushback against that announcement, citing their overall vagueness, lofty asks of gamers' rigs, contradictions to the previously posted Steam page specs, and in general, reading more like an AMD sales pitch versus that of a factual statistical readout. In the most recent DF Direct weekly podcast, the crew at Digital Foundry really break down many of the issues with AMD's posted specs, calling them bad marketing and downright wrong. Now, I'll leave a link to this podcast in the video description, but if I could give anyone a bit of calming advice, it would be this. Check out Steam for the original PC recommendations and don't immediately become overly concerned that your current PC setups will not handle Starfield, especially after that misleading AMD announcement. Shifting gears, and in a recent upload I touched on Steam Deck and if it would be able to handle a game as demanding as Starfield. Now, according to a comparison by Steam Deck HQ, using games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Forspoken for their like specs, and seeing the spotty performance of those two games, the conclusion was that Starfield would not perform well on Steam Deck. But now, based on a recent Windows Central article, we have possible good news and information on Steam's biggest handheld competitor, the ASUS ROG Ally. The article goes on to echo concerns over Steam Deck and Starfield, but is much more optimistic over the ROG Ally, thanks to its AMD Z1 Zen 4 processor and the RDNA 3 graphics hardware. These upgrades made it better suited to playing demanding titles like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and based on the minimum and recommended PC spec requirements being similar to that of Starfield, this hinted towards a consistent 40 to 45 FPS with lowered settings on Ally. General feelings towards Steam Deck certification are, this is something that's probably not going to happen, at least not close to launch, especially after Todd Howard's response of Bethesda will think about Starfield on Steam Deck down the road. But there is also the option to use the xCloud streaming service if Steam Deck is not up to the task. Anyways, what are your thoughts on these two handhelds and Starfield? Let me know in the comment section below. And now onto the great Starfield patty melt debate. And on a more serious note, will Starfield have a broken economy? Now, according to a Reddit post, the post expresses concerns over the in-game economy as 64 patty melts will get you a spaceship, and they've used a screenshot taken from the Starfield Direct showing those delicious patty melts with a value of 295 credits each versus a ship created from multiple ships and spliced together in Photoshop dubbed the Ass Fleet Ranger coming in at 19,054 credits. Or, based on this scenario, why not 544.4 pieces of toast? Or, how about a mag shear for ship trade plus 9,100 plus credits back in your pocket? Now, some comments have pointed to the fact that the ship was fan-created and not seen anywhere in previous Starfield footage, but here's one I found in the Starfield Direct, coming in even cheaper at just 13,460 credits, or only 384.6 pieces of toast. I jest, but for me personally, I'm not concerned. We've seen some interesting economy and XP outliers in previous BGS games. I specifically remember punching out iron ore and leather in Skyrim, speedsmithing iron daggers and leather bracers, and power leveling my smithing up to level 90 in just a few hours just so I could make Daedric armor. It's a single-player experience, so the economy will function as the devs intended it to. There may be outliers and other objects that fans feel should be worth more or less, but ultimately, it has nothing to do with power leveling for PvP or co-op endgame, and so I don't see it as an issue. But I am concerned with the ingredients in that orange juice of transcendence. I mean, what's up with that? And now on to two items I would love to see as we approach the early access release for Starfield, which, if my calculations are correct, is at T-minus 38 days and counting. And the first of these is an official, Bethesda-backed offline ship creator with the ability to import into your game files for later use. Now, no doubt the Starfield community is starting to go hog wild with these ship designs, and having every available ship piece from the game files with full stats like weight, capabilities, and more would be absolutely incredible. Once the optimal ship design has been achieved, being able to save those configurations and import them directly into your game is the next step, allowing players to actively search for pieces they have been wanting and compare what they have salvaged versus their dream ship blueprints. Next, we've received multiple trailers, interviews, and that exquisite 45-minute Starfield Direct, but for many potential players, they want to see even more. And this brings me to the second item I would love to see, and that's some actual raw gameplay footage. Now, up to this point, every piece of gameplay has been beautiful, but scripted. And to see something unedited, like a developer live streaming the game, controller in hand, headset on, maybe a camera on them while they played, would be ideal. I'd personally like to see some planet exploration, start to finish, especially circling a new planet for observation, finding a point to set down our ships, disembarking, and roaming around a point of interest. Live combat and looting would also be really cool to see, and all of this could go a long ways towards answering questions of how it plays live, and if it shows well enough, could calm a lot of pre-launch concerns. But based on what I am seeing from Microsoft and Bethesda, they seem to feel that they're in a good spot leading up to launch. They had that extremely well-received Starfield Direct presentation. Bethesda has already confirmed they will be at Gamescom in late August, and overall, I'm not seeing any panic on their side, in direct contrast to what we got when Fallout 76 was nearing launch. And if I remember correctly, there were plenty of preview events, tests, feedback sessions, and looking back on it now, that panic was warranted. But with Starfield, we're seeing the exact opposite. Quiet, calm, and confident. And let's finish up today's Starfield upload with this beautiful piece of fan art from Reddit user It's All Pixels. And this incredible Starfield ship design has taken the better part of 3 months to construct. Labeled as NASA Punk, Pixels designs are incredibly detailed and have already caught the attention of Bethesda. I've got to say, this is an insane looking ship and goes back to my desire to have a ship creator suite made available by Bethesda to allow players to create their own one-off masterpieces. Let me know what your ideal ship design will look like once Starfield launches. Sound off in the comment section below. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are always appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description. Shout out to the now over 128,000 of you that have stuck with me and hit subscribe. And as always, thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.